Have you ever overheard something that shattered everything you believed about your own family? Before I share what happened to me, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because this story is proof that age doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. I had gone back home one morning to grab my blood pressure medication, never expecting that single moment to change my life. As soon as I opened the door, I froze. I heard my daughter-in-law's voice echoing from the living room. "Yes, Mom. The old woman will have to hand over the house. She has no choice," she whispered sharply on the phone. I leaned against the wall, my hands trembling. Lisa, the woman I'd welcomed like my own daughter, paced around the room like she already owned my house. "Michael and Danny are on board. It's only fair. After all these years, we deserve the house. Mom, Dad, my brothers, everyone can live here. If she doesn't like it, she can go to a nursing home. She's served her purpose." Every word hit me like a knife. I had spent 30 years building this house brick by brick. It wasn't just walls, it was my blood, sweat, and memories. I hid behind the door until she left to the backyard, then slipped inside quietly, pretending I'd just arrived. When she returned, she wore that practiced smile. "Oh, Mom, I didn't hear you come in. I just came for my pills," I said calmly, but my mind was racing. We sat for coffee. I watched her with new eyes, the way she glanced at the walls like she was mentally redecorating, the way she casually suggested renovations for the future. I had mistaken her constant helpful questions for kindness. It was strategy. Then she began softly, "You know, we were thinking it's time to talk about the future. You're 67 now, this house must be exhausting to maintain." "Practical?" I asked, playing along. "Well, if we lived here, you wouldn't have to worry about anything anymore. You'd just relax with the grandkids," she replied sweetly. The hypocrisy was unbearable. This woman who barely contributed a dime when she lived here, who avoided helping with chores or doctor visits, now she wanted to help me by moving her entire family into my home. I smiled politely, but inside I was steel. She had no idea she'd just awakened the fighter in me. That night, as I walked through the house, the living room where Michael took his first steps, the kitchen where I taught my boys to cook, the garden where I planted roses after double shifts, I felt the weight of betrayal sink in. They wanted to take this from me. The next morning, a strange calm settled over me. I remembered everything I'd endured. My husband leaving me with 2 little boys, working factory shifts at dawn and sewing at night, saving every penny for 7 years to buy this land. I built this home with my hands, alongside my sons. I carried bricks, mixed cement, installed pipes. When we moved in, we didn't even have furniture, but we were happy. Over the years, I supported them through school, gave them every opportunity. When Michael met Lisa in college, she seemed humble, kind, a girl from a modest background. I cried at their wedding. She lived with us for 2 years while Michael finished school. I charged them only $50 for expenses. I never imagined that same girl would one day plot to throw me out. 3 days after overhearing that call, my sons arrived together, a rare sight. We sat for coffee, and Michael cleared his throat nervously. "Mom, we need to talk about your situation, my situation." As if living in my own house was a problem. "It's just, this house is too big for one person," he said. Danny chimed in, "And we found some great retirement homes. You'd be more comfortable there." I played along. "Interesting. But why now?" Michael hesitated, then said it. "Lisa's family needs a place to live. If you moved, we could use this house to help them. It would be like charity." Charity. My home, built through sacrifice, now reduced to a charity project for my daughter-in-law's family. I nodded slowly, as if considering it, but inside my resolve hardened. That afternoon, I called Evelyn, my oldest friend, the woman who'd stood by me through every hardship. I told her everything. She listened quietly, then said, "Sarah, this is exactly how my neighbors lost their home. You need to protect yourself. Go to the bank, see a lawyer, and don't let them suspect a thing." That night, I couldn't sleep. Memories flashed through my mind like puzzle pieces rearranging into a sinister picture. Michael's questions about my legal documents months earlier, Danny's gentle suggestions about moving to a community, Lisa's curious eyes on every renovation. It had all been part of a plan, subtle, methodical, patient. They thought I was old and naive. But at 67, I had never been clearer. The next morning, I called my bank and strengthened every security measure. Then I met with Mr. Morales, a lawyer recommended years ago. He explained my rights clearly. This is financial abuse. You can set up legal protections, trusts, and document everything. And yes, if you ever wanted to sell, you could do so quietly, and no one could stop you. For the first time, I saw a path. I wasn't helpless. That evening, Michael called. "Mom, have you thought about the residences?" "Lisa's found some nice ones." His voice was rehearsed, as if reading from a script. "Yes, Michael," I replied softly. "I want to take my time and make the right choice." Inside, I smiled. Let them think I was playing along. The next day, I met Lisa for coffee. "I've been thinking," I said slowly. Her eyes lit up. "You're right. Maybe maintaining the house is too much." She leaned forward eagerly. "We can handle everything, Mom. You'd be free of worries," I asked. "And the house?" "Oh, don't worry," she said without missing a beat. "Michael and I would take care of it. In fact, we were thinking of moving in and selling ours." "It makes sense, right?" I forced a smile. She was confessing her entire plan, not realizing she was giving me ammunition. Her parents, her brothers, the renovations, all of it spilled out over coffee. That night, I called Evelyn again. "They've already divided the house room by room," I said. "Then it's time to make your move," she replied. And that's exactly what I plan to do. Over the next few days, I played my role perfectly. To Michael and Lisa, I was the aging, indecisive mother slowly being persuaded to do what's best for everyone. But behind the scenes, I was moving with quiet precision. First, I met with Mr. Morales again. "I want to make sure no one can touch a single thing I own without my say," I told him. He nodded approvingly. Together, we added layers of legal protection. No one could access my accounts without direct verbal confirmation, no transfers allowed without my presence, and a special clause ensuring any property changes required notarized proof of my consent. If they tried anything sneaky, the bank would slam the door in their faces. Then came the house. I wasn't just going to protect it, I was going to take it completely out of their reach. Mr. Morales suggested preparing everything for a private sale. "Once you choose a buyer," he said, "we can close in less than a week. They'll never see it coming." Meanwhile, Lisa and Michael continued their charade. Michael called daily, his voice artificially cheerful. "Mom, have you thought more about it? Lisa found another beautiful community with gardens, activities, everything." "You'd love it," I responded with soft interest. "That sounds nice, honey. Let's visit it soon." Lisa was even bolder. When we met again at the cafe, she spoke like a woman already holding the keys. "Michael and I talked. If you move, we'll sell our place and move into yours. My parents could help with the bills. My brothers can handle the garden. It'll be perfect." I sipped my coffee, nodding as if she were doing me a favor. In truth, every word she spoke was evidence. She didn't realize she was handing me the blueprint of her plan. The following weekend, they took me to tour the residences. Lisa wore coral pink and that self-satisfied smile that made my skin crawl. "You're going to love this one," she gushed as we drove. The first place was gorgeous and outrageously expensive. The administrator said $4,200 per month for a private suite, all inclusive. Lisa and Michael exchanged knowing looks. "It's perfect," Lisa whispered to him. I pretended to hesitate. "That's a lot of money." "Oh, don't worry," Michael replied quickly. "We'll help with the expenses." A lie so smooth he probably believed it himself. We toured 2 more places. One was more luxurious, the other cheaper and depressing. Small rooms, overwhelmed staff, the smell of bleach clinging to the walls. Lisa tapped the brochure of the cheaper one and said sweetly, "This might be more practical in the long run." Of course. They wanted me tucked away somewhere affordable so my savings would stretch. Not for me, but for them. At lunch afterward, Lisa leaned across the table. "So, what did you think, Mom?" "They all have their advantages," I replied diplomatically. "Well," Michael added, "the sooner you decide, the sooner you can enjoy your new life." Their 8-year-old son, Jason, piped up innocently, "Grandma, are you not going to live in your house anymore?" Lisa's response was immediate. "Grandma's moving to a fun place with lots of grandparents, sweetie. And we're going to take care of her house so it doesn't get damaged." I smiled at Jason, but inside my blood ran cold. She was already conditioning the child, folding him into the lie. That night, while they probably congratulated themselves, I finalized the sale. Mr. Sale. Morales called with good news. "We have a cash buyer offering $240,000. It's slightly under market, but we can close in 5 business days." "Do it," I said. The sooner the better. Over the next 2 days, I quietly packed the most precious items: family photos, my sewing machine, heirloom jewelry, the things that told my story. Everything else, the furniture they were drooling over, I decided to sell later or give away on my own terms. On Sunday morning, I got an unexpected call. "Hi, Sarah, it's Rachel," said Lisa's mother, her voice dripping with rehearsed warmth. "Linda told me about your plans. We're so grateful to help Michael and Linda take care of the house." They weren't even pretending anymore. "Yes, Rachel," I replied smoothly. "It's comforting to know the house will be cared for." She chuckled. "We've already started planning how to divide the rooms to accommodate everyone." They were already carving up my home like a Thanksgiving turkey. Monday morning, I signed the papers. The money with an escrow. By Tuesday, it would be mine, legally and permanently. I also signed the lease for a lovely 1-bedroom apartment 10 minutes from Evelyn's place. It had a balcony overlooking a park, sunlight pouring through every window. For the first time in weeks, I felt free. That afternoon, Michael called again. "Mom, Linda and I found another residence, one that gives discounts if you pay a year up front." "Isn't that great?" I smiled to myself. Perfect timing. "Come over at 5, I said warmly. "We'll talk about it." They arrived right on time. Lisa had a folder full of brochures. Michael's nervous excitement was practically vibrating. They spread papers on the table like real estate agents closing a deal. "Mom," Lisa began, "after careful research, we found the perfect place, Serene Villa. It's $4,000 a month, but if you pay annually, you save $6,000. Michael and I can help with the down payment." I nodded thoughtfully, letting them dig their own grave. "And what would happen to the house if I moved?" Lisa smiled her most convincing smile. "Well, as we discussed, we'd take care of it. But legally, it would be easier to transfer the property to our name temporarily, just to handle taxes, repairs, all that boring stuff. You'd still be the real owner, of course." "Temporarily transfer," I repeated softly. "Exactly," Michael jumped in. "Our lawyer can do all the paperwork tomorrow." There it was. The final step of their plan, spoken aloud. I pretended to consider it. "And if I wanted to come back someday?" They froze. Lisa recovered first. "Well, you'll probably love Serene Villa so much that you won't want to come back." The phone rang. Perfect timing. I excused myself to answer. "Mrs. Sarah, Mr. Morales's voice came through clearly. "I'm calling to confirm the sale has been completed. The funds are in your account. The new owner gets the keys tomorrow at 10 a.m. I returned to the living room, my heart calm and steady. Michael looked at me expectantly. "Everything okay, Mom?" "Yes," I said, sitting down. "Better than ever, actually." "There's something I need to tell you." Their smiles faltered. I leaned forward. "I've made my decision. I'm moving out. But not to a nursing home. I sold the house." For a moment, time stopped. Michael blinked like he hadn't heard me right. Lisa went pale. "You, what?" she sputtered. "I sold it," I said firmly. "This morning. It's done." Lisa shot up from her chair. "You can't do that." We had an agreement. I stood, calm as a mountain. No, you had a plan. I never agreed to anything. Michael looked shattered. Mom, we were going to help you. I looked him dead in the eyes. Help me? By scheming to take my home, put me away, and split my belongings like scavengers. No, Michael, you were going to help yourselves. Lisa's mask cracked completely. This isn't over. You can't make decisions like this without the family. I laughed. Genuinely. Family? Real family doesn't plot behind your back. Real family doesn't call you an old woman and plan to ship you off, Michael whispered. Mom, where will you go? Somewhere I choose, I answered, with my money. My freedom, my dignity. They left with their plans in ruins. Lisa slammed the door, muttering threats. Michael lingered a moment longer, eyes downcast, before following her out. As I watched them drive away, I didn't feel regret. I felt relief. The game was over, and The next morning, Evelyn arrived with her usual energy and a borrowed pickup truck. Are you ready? She asked, helping me carry boxes down the front steps for the last time. I took one long, quiet look at the house. The walls held decades of laughter, tears, sleepless nights, birthday candles, scraped knees, and whispered prayers. It wasn't just a structure, it was a chapter of my life, and I was finally closing it on my own terms. Mr. C. Mendoza, the buyer, was waiting at the door. A kind widower with silver hair and gentle eyes, he shook my hand firmly. Mrs. Carter, he said, I can tell this house was loved. I promise to take care of it like you did. I smiled. That's all I ask. When I handed him the keys, it felt like releasing a heavy weight I'd been carrying for years, but this time it didn't hurt. It felt liberating. My new apartment was everything I needed, bright, peaceful, and mine. The balcony overlooked a small park where children played and elderly couples strolled in the evenings. For the first time in months, I slept soundly that night, without the echo of betrayal haunting me in every corner. The weeks that followed were surprisingly joyful. Without the upkeep of a large house, I had time again. Time to breathe, to sit in the park with a book, to laugh with Evelyn over tea. My little alterations business didn't just survive, it flourished. Old clients followed me, and new neighbors brought their clothes by. I even made friends with a local boutique owner who started referring customers to me regularly. My savings were secure. The proceeds from the house were invested carefully, and between that and my business income, I didn't need anyone's help. For the first time in years, I was living for myself, not for my children, not for anyone's expectations. 3 weeks after the confrontation, my phone rang. The caller ID showed a name I hadn't expected, Daniel. Hi, Mom, he said softly when I answered. Can we talk? We met at the cafe where Evelyn and I often sat. He looked thinner, older somehow. His voice trembled as he began, I didn't know Lisa had been planning this for so long. I thought we were doing what was best for you. I raised an eyebrow. When you suggested I move to a residence. When you asked about my documents. When you nodded along while they divided my house. You didn't think to ask me what I wanted? He lowered his gaze. I was weak. Lisa manipulated Michael and I followed along. I'm not proud of it. I'm sorry, Mom. His words were sincere, but my heart had been hardened by months of deceit. Daniel, I said calmly, an apology doesn't erase what happened. Trust doesn't return with a sentence. It returns with actions. He nodded, eyes glassy. I know. I don't expect forgiveness right away. I just needed you to know I see what I did. We talked for a while longer. For the first time, I saw glimpses of the sweet boy I'd raised, but I also knew this wasn't something a single coffee could fix. A month later, I received another call, this time from Michael. His voice was different. Quieter. He told me he and Lisa were separating. I realized, he said, that I've been living the life she wanted, not mine. Losing you was too high a price to pay to keep her happy. There was a long pause between us. Michael, I said finally, I hope this taught you something. Respect and love can't be faked. They must be earned. He exhaled shakily. I know, Mom. And I want to be better. I didn't offer immediate comfort. Some wounds need time to scar before they can be touched. My grandson Jason, though, remained a light in my life. One sunny afternoon, as I walked through the park, I heard a small voice yell, "Grandma!" He came running, arms wide open, and I knelt to hug him. His innocence cut through everything that had happened. "Why don't you live in your big house anymore?" he asked. "Because," I smiled, "I decided it was time for new adventures." He grinned. "Do you like your new house?" "I love it," I said truthfully. "It's perfect for me." His nanny told me he often asked about me. That simple fact warmed my heart in ways I can't describe. Jason wasn't responsible for his parents' greed, and one day, when he was older, he'd know the truth, not from whispered gossip, but from me. 6 months passed. The storm had quieted. Daniel visited occasionally, slowly rebuilding our relationship through consistency, not empty words. Michael was in therapy, finally untangling himself from years of manipulation. Lisa and her family vanished from our lives like a bad dream that had run its course. As for me, I joined a book club at the local library, made new friends, and found joy in unexpected places. I laughed more. I rested more. I discovered that at 68, life wasn't ending. It was transforming. I often sat on my balcony at sunset, watching the sky burn gold and pink. I thought about everything that had happened: the betrayal, the anger, the fear, the boldness of my plan. And every single time, I arrived at the same truth. I didn't lose anything that mattered. I didn't lose my house. I chose to let it go before it became a cage. I didn't lose my dignity. I claimed it back. I didn't lose my family. They lost my trust and are now slowly learning what it takes to earn it again. I had faced betrayal in my twilight years, but I didn't crumble. I strategized. I acted. I protected myself. If you're watching this and you've ever felt cornered, underestimated, or dismissed because of your age, remember this: you are never too old to take control of your life. Wisdom is your greatest weapon. And if you loved this story, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and share it with someone who needs to hear that standing up for yourself has no age limit. Because sometimes the best revenge is simply living free.